For weeks, fans had been wondering when Jimin would finally reveal signs of a comeback. HYBE remained completely silent. There were no teasers, no interviews, no rumor confirmations. But then, on the evening of October 2025, a quiet report emerged from Seoul's music industry insiders. Jimin's long-awaited solo album had officially entered its final mixing stage. This wasn't speculation. It came from multiple respected sources, engineers and producers who have previously worked with HYBE. Their words were brief yet powerful. It is no longer a conceptual phase. It is now in the finishing room. That one phrase changed everything. Suddenly, the silence began to make sense. Jimin had not disappeared. He was preparing to. HYBE had not confirmed anything publicly, yet fans knew something had shifted. Jimin was spotted entering the big hit studio building past midnight, not just once, but on 3 consecutive nights. This caused immediate movement within Korean music forums. People close to the industry said that when HYBE becomes completely silent, it is usually because everything is in its final stage. The moment before a global announcement, reporters attempted to reach HYBE for comment. As expected, the company only responded with, "We cannot confirm anything at this time." In HYBE language, that was practically an acknowledgement. Jimin's previous solo album had already broken history, not just as a BTS member, but as a Korean soloist on the global stage. His track, Like Crazy, became the first solo K-pop song to debut at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. That achievement raised expectations to a level almost unimaginable. This new release was not just music. It was a statement of legacy, a continuation of a musical identity that was emotional, graceful, sophisticated, and undeniably powerful. Music insiders revealed that Jimin's album was currently being handled in one of HYBE's highest security mixing suites, the same one used for BTS's historical global releases. What shocked fans was that 2 international engineers, heavily associated with The Weeknd and Billie Eilish, were rumored to be part of the sound direction. A mixing process meant only one thing: recording was already completed. There was nothing left to experiment with. The sound had been chosen. The direction was final. It was now about precision and perfection. Industry discussions indicated that HYBE had already reserved international media slots across the US, Japan, and Europe for late November and early December. These are time windows only booked when release timing has already been internally approved. This suggested something important. HYBE was preparing for a simultaneous global drop, not a regional one. The next time fans hear from Jimin, it may not be a teaser. It might be the announcement itself. The tone within the fanbase was not merely excitement. It was anticipation mixed with maturity. Armies were no longer just waiting for music. They were waiting for a new artistic evolution. The word repeatedly mentioned by fans online was elevated. People were not asking if the album would be successful. They were asking how far Jimin planned to push the boundaries this time. This was not a comeback of survival or relevance. It was a comeback of artistic refinement. The absence of Jimin's voice in the music scene for months was deeply felt. One Weverse hashtag read, "When Jimin sings, the world slows down." This comeback was about more than numbers. It was about presence. There was a sense that the world of K-pop had been missing an emotional narrator, and Jimin was preparing to reclaim that seat, not loudly, but deeply. Within 48 hours of the mixing stage report surfacing, international outlets began reacting. Billboard, Rolling Stone Japan, and GQ France all made indirect mentions of an anticipated Q4 K-pop release from a major South Korean vocalist. None named Jimin directly. They didn't have to. The industry already knew who had the world's attention. This wasn't fan speculation anymore. This was global tension. Interestingly, HYBE has not denied any reports so far. They simply maintain minimal acknowledgement. This strategic silence is familiar. It is the same pattern used before BTS's most historic releases, and that is what makes fans believe one thing: HYBE is in launch mode, not testing, not planning, executing. And so, October 2025 enters a state of quiet expectation. An O teaser has dropped. An O date has been announced. But something undeniable has begun. The mixing room is active. The schedule is being positioned. The world is adjusting itself, preparing space before Jimin's return, because when he comes back, it will not be a whisper. It will be a moment. In the global fan community, there was a noticeable change in tone. No one was loudly screaming for announcements anymore. Instead, there was a calm but sharpened awareness, the kind that comes when people know something is already in motion. The discussions had matured. Fans were no longer asking, "Will Jimin come back?" They were asking, "How monumental will this return be?" Silence had become a language of certainty, not of delay. HYBE's internal scheduling historically leaves unannounced blackout windows prior to major releases. These quiet zones are protected from press events and unrelated activities. Industry trackers noticed that the last 2 weeks of November 2025 had suddenly become empty in HYBE's public calendar. This absence was not casual. Companies don't block their own schedule without strategic intention, and this subtle signal confirmed to many, Jimin's timeline is already locked. Unlike most artists, Jimin's fanbase does not operate regionally. His influence moves simultaneously across Korea, Japan, Southeast Asia, the US, Latin America, and Europe with almost mirrored speed. This makes release logistics more complex, but infinitely more powerful. HYBE likely understands that when Jimin releases music, it cannot be a slow rollout. It must detonate globally in real time, and that preparation appears to have already begun. A well-respected Korean producer known for previous BTS collaborations posted a vague but telling update on SS, "The most emotionally difficult and artistically ambitious project of my career is almost complete." He did not mention any names, but the post was made on the same day the mixing leak surfaced. The comment section, thousands deep, silently acknowledged what no one said aloud. They already knew who he was referring to. Jimin is not seen as just a vocalist, but as a carrier of emotional truth in the music world. His style has always leaned toward the poetic, the human, the deeply vulnerable. Unlike trends that chase virality, his music leaves permanent emotional echoes. That is why expectations are not about chart rankings alone. People are waiting for a feeling, a return of that rare voice that does not simply perform, it touches. Within South Korea's entertainment business circles, projections already began circulating regarding first-week performance estimates. Some predicted that if HYBE commits to a true global rollout, Jimin could break his previous streaming record within 72 hours. Japan's top music analysts even reported that pre-release discovery searches for Jimin surged sharply in the past 10 days, nearing levels seen before his historic 2023 Billboard win. The world was preparing, quietly, but undeniably, Judas. Media editors began quietly shifting their newsroom focus toward HYBE's activity signals. While direct headlines had not yet appeared, publishers were already on alert mode, ready for immediate coverage. Netflix-related outlets, fashion magazines like Vogue US, and music business platforms like Hits Daily Double were already holding preparatory space. IN journalism, that is the true pre-announcement phase, when the world starts to angle its cameras before the subject even speaks. Something remarkable was happening among ARMY, particularly within Jimin's core fanbase. There was no chaos, no impatience, only quiet readiness. Fan communities across Korea, Japan, and the US began pre-organizing streaming infrastructure, playlist testing, translation teams, and synchronized global rollout campaigns. Without waiting for official orders, IT was not obsession. It was coordination. IT felt less like fans waiting and more like an army preparing for signal.